Hello, everybody. So there's a short delay, and welcome to the European African panel. As I suggest everyone is watching as of now, I'll just start the introduction as we don't have an audience to react. This is the unofficial Expand panel because the European market is, or seems like it's almost set. The African market is building up, as we heard from Elizabeth today. And every participant in this group today is somehow involved in expanding TYPO3. And I'll introduce you to the speakers and panelists themselves. And I think we are still waiting for Elizabeth to join, so she will come afterwards. Because usually I'd have ladies first, as she's not here, you will hear her description and then we'll talk to her later. Elizabeth is a division manager of Risa in Rwanda. She's in the process of transferring some of 120 websites into TYPO3 for stability reasons, and that's a whole topic she explained in her session. So she's really into growing TYPO3 and can give us a real good impression of the African market. Robert, from my view, down low. Thanks, Robert. He's the CEO of Pixelant. And he initiated the agency starter kit on his own experience because he expanded TYPO3 in the Swedish market. And yesterday, I think he said, it's a market rejecting your software. So he's quite experienced in working against resistance. Then we do have Tymoteusz, just wave. He's the CTO of Macopedia, member of the TYPO3 expansion committee, and therefore one of the driving forces to establish a community in Poland. That's, of course, his background in establishing it. And he's establishing the community abroad as well, as he was in Africa with Daniel. Daniel, I think everyone knows you as of now. He's a member of the TYPO3 expansion committee as well. I think you initiated it, so not if I'm right. And he's the CEO of Axia and organized this whole event. So thank you for this. And of course, he's an expert in expanding TYPO3 in the Romanian market, as he's organizing the T3Con East Europe and has been in Africa several times and supports the community there. And then last but not least, I hope, that's me. I'm CEO of my own company as well. And I'm not in any committee, but I'm on a mission with our website builder to bring TYPO3 to small and medium businesses all over the world and support agencies building up a sustainable business value. So that's the whole group. I think we are still missing Elizabeth. Daniel, can you see her in the backstage area, or is she?
Well, our organizing committee is trying to help her, and it seems that she has some trouble with sharing audio and video.
Okay.
Something that we all
right
do. But we'll keep on trying. Let's just move on, and she'll join when.
Then I just hope she's not mad at me, if so I can pick someone else as first draft. To get to know the panel a little bit better, I would start with Robert because as our whole common topic is growing TYPO3. Robert, a little bit about yourself and the experience you had in the Swedish market and why you initiated the TYPO3 agency package.
I'm Robert, and as Daniel said, I started Pixelant almost 15 years ago. And actually, at that point, there was a little market for TYPO3, and there were actually people searching for TYPO3 in the Swedish market. Since then, we've been working with TYPO3 quite successfully, but more and more during the years against the market. And today, I think we are the only ones in Sweden working with TYPO3. And I initiated this agency starter package because I can see when I talk to other agencies, there is a huge need for TYPO3 as a complementary CMS. I think TYPO3 is a great CMS. I think the ground features in TYPO3 is very competitive on the market. If I look at WordPress or Drupal or the other CMSs, I think TYPO3 has its space. but sadly, I think it's too developer driven, and it's too hard for agencies to come into TYPO3. It's a steep learning curve. There is very little templates, and a lot of people are working on solving that issue. But I think like pinpointing some agents and try really to help them. And I can see I would select them who uses WordPress and don't have an enterprise CMS would be a perfect fit to mentor in some kind of starter package.
Okay, so we'll get back to that later because we will address what's in it a little bit. Maybe you can tease a little. Next up, I'd say, Timek, it's about you.
I, as you said, I have experience in a business and I'm running Macopedia in Poland, but I also have the experience from the other side of the mirror. So being a core developer. So I sharing those two views. I am working on growing the TYPO3 in Poland. And the important thing from my side is that growing a community or organizing a community is never a one person job or one company job. And to be honest, also I did not started that in Poland, but I joined. There were already people on the ground doing stuff, and I was really happy to join forces. And this showed me that you cannot talk about TYPO3 without talking about the community which support the product.
All right. So Daniel, I think that's something you can really join the thought in itself.
Absolutely. Well, I'm managing Arxia. It's a Romanian IT company. We are doing TYPO3 since 2005, so we have a bit of tradition in working with our CMS. We are also doing other stuff, consultancy, training, and have some of our own products in various fields, and more particular in the last years in the public administration area. Public institutional area, and we've been very active in trying to build up a community in Romania since 2010. We've tried to join the forces of Romanian agencies and developers together and to promote TYPO3 on the market. We've done many actions during the years here in our market. Culminating with the starting of the TYPO3 East Europe conference, which we did the first time in 2013 here in our city of Cluj-Napoca. And we've run this conference each year until last year as a physical event. And tried to showcase TYPO3 to the types of markets that we feel and I believe that are the best for TYPO3 in many respects, meaning the public administration, the city halls, and the universities. And we've done workshops on these respects together with experienced people from the TYPO3 Association in the past years. So that's about the activities in the Romanian market.
All right. So that's where I wanted to step in. So we're still waiting for Elizabeth. I'm not sure if she can join. So never mind. We will add her later. A few words about her, if you haven't seen her talk today. There she is, Elizabeth, right on time.
Yeah, apologies. I had issues joining.
No problem. I see you just wanted to prevent me talking about your business and your job. That's good.
Keeping some kind of excitement in this live thing.
Yeah. Elizabeth, you just joined at the end of the introduction round. So I'm just asking you for a few sentences how you would like to grow TYPO3 within your function in a governmental role in Rwanda. And then afterwards, we'll just go right ahead. And I think you will be the next because I preferred ladies first. So tell us something about you.
Thank you. So as I did in my previous session, we have a big ambition to grow TYPO3 in Rwanda, and especially starting with using it for other projects other than the website. So that is what is on our agenda as the government, as we aim at digitizing government services. We want TYPO3 to be on our approach of the fast digitization of those services, because until today we're only using it for websites. So that is what we have as the plan. Thank you.
All right. So, and to catch that up, you can serve as a role model, because as we read in the chat today, a lot of African viewers are trying to establish the TYPO3 system itself, either in the government or in the private sector. So, and what we had in the first talks is we are always talking about building up attraction towards the system, which usually goes through the public sector. It's either universities, the government. It's a large project. It's a monolith, which is just attracting people and making them think about how did they solve those great tasks in the daily business. And then afterwards, usually comes the private sector, which is meant for companies and agencies, and basically how to make a living out of TYPO3, because that attracts most of us, because yes, we all earn money, and that's what it's for in the end. And then once you have those different parties, I think the community really gets growing and gets a start, because as we all know, you usually want to exchange knowledge, and you want to discuss, and you want to know if you could do anything better, and that's why we're here. And so in our round, as we have 5 people who are basically with all the mind upon growing TYPO3, the question is, what do you bring to the table? And Elizabeth, as you've been here the last, you are now the first. So we know you're in the government, but tell us, what can you imagine beyond the government? So what will you do when you have 120 websites done? What's up for TYPO3?
So what we have to bring on the table is the advantage that we have a very young and vibrant population in our country, and that the government is very keen to having technology at the forefront of the development. And having this population young and very active, and all the strategies, policies, and infrastructure put in place to facilitate the digitization and embrace of technology can be an advantage for TYPO3 as well as other potential investments other than technology. There I'm looking at other investment that can be done in a country that has this potential. So the other thing we have to bring in the table is that we have already adopted TYPO3. So it's easier to bring projects around the CMS, because we will not have to go again convincing the government on the adoption of the CMS. So it's a sort of a very paved road already for TYPO3 to grow and to be used as a source of income generation for our private sector as well as public. And again, we currently have a Rwanda Coding Academy that is a special high learning institution for only coding. So that is as part of the ambition of the government to be able now to export those skills to the other part of the globe. So TYPO3 can also leverage that academy that is already established, so that we build strong skills in TYPO3 within our youth, and in the future be able to outsource the skills of TYPO3 beyond our country. So what we have to bring is that readiness on our side, and of course we want to be a nice city hub for the region. Rwanda is well positioned to be at a very good location where we can start something and have it grow in the East Africa, have it grow around Africa. So that also is an advantage that we have to bring on the table.
That's nice. So, and that's what I thought in the first hours of the conference today, or the meetup days. You can always serve as a role model. I think it's easier to look at what you did from African perspectives, so you can just ask and collaborate. So it's a good starting point for TYPO3 in Africa. So I appreciate that as well. And that's a good introduction into either Daniel or Tymoteusz, because you both have been in Rwanda and you helped and you are in the mentorship program. So you can now just fight who wants to talk first. Yeah, if we go alphabetically, it's Daniel. If not, Tymoteusz. So you both have the experience over there, and you both have experience to grow TYPO3 in your East European markets. So, and I think we got to think even further, like the border doesn't end in Romania. I guess it goes well beyond. So there are still there are more people to reach. So, Daniel.
Well, even the meaning of this event that we are in today is that TYPO3 is global, or should be. And that's exactly the goal that drives us, and that's why we been to Africa 2.5 years ago and stay there and try to grow there, but not only Africa. I mean, it's all the places. What I think that we could bring right now is an experience that is already growing in our community, and well, in particular in our community expansion committee, but also something that we need to share, and also something that we need to grow as a dialogue in between all our communities. We've started 2.5 years ago with Africa, and actually the initiative was not mine, was of Olivier Doberkal, who found out that there is a conference in which he was thinking that maybe somebody from the community would go there, and that was the CMS Africa Summit in 2018. And when I've heard about it, I couldn't leave 1/2 hour or a minute to pass, and I jumped to Olivier and say, I want, so pick me, to go to Africa and to promote TYPO3. And that is how it started. That is when I've met Elizabeth. Then we started to work together on helping Rwanda, and further on things expand. And nowadays, I could say that we have 41 countries present in this event, and all of the countries are picked. We went in. Well, initially in 2 years we went physically, but this year we have done a tremendous work of reaching out, and we have reached out 1 person of the year. That was a work that actually we're starting to get good at. We're starting to be able to send a message. And from now on, what we have to do is to convert this message into opportunity. That's the challenge that awaits us. For Rwanda, it worked, because already it was on fertile ground. The government was engaged, and so on. It worked. But for any other country, we need to actually figure out exactly how to convert this openness that we could foster into an opportunity for the market and the opportunity for those people. We're still learning, but we are already based on an experience. And I think that together we've identified, even through this event, we've identified and get in touch with companies. Some of them you've already seen until now on the panels, with companies which not all the people from the community knew about them. And you'll see even further in the event that actually TYPO3 is much larger than we thought. It's just that we have to build these bridges and then foster these people who are in Costa Rica, New Zealand, Cambodia, India, to find better and convert better opportunities in the market.
Yes.
So that's what I think that we can bring on the table. Already a sort of experience and maybe a vision which is still in form, not mature, but already getting into shape.
Very nice, thank you. So Tymoteusz, that's I think you can confirm anything Daniel said because you're in the committee both. We had a little chat about most technical parts and facts. So you talked about TYPO3 is one of the best things as it has no vendor lock and you don't have to relaunch your website every 2 to 3 years. So you have a good view on the technical side of TYPO3 and are in the expansion committee as well. Would you like to add anything what you and Macopedia can bring to the table for growing TYPO3?
Sure. So TYPO3 was a product which is in Macopedia from the start, so over 10 years ago. And we grew together with the product. We are bringing and brought to the table quite some things. And I don't really know where to start. But just to highlight also how other people can join or help and grow their communities. For example, one of our employees, Marcin, is one of the maintainers of Polish translation of TYPO3. So end users are often not thinking that somebody had to translate the whole interface for them, and this is so important, right? But in the Polish market, our focus right now is to market TYPO3 and to showcase big implementation, big projects where our competitions is more big commercial systems, because as you said, those big implementations are driving the market forward. People looking at those big cases are saying, okay, this system is capable of handling this huge website. It will be capable of handling my smaller case. But also as a company, we are encouraging the community, but also our employees to contribute in any way, documentation to the core, to organize local events, hackathons, to exchange knowledge, exchange experience. And I think that this is a very important part, because as I said at the beginning, this is not a one company job, and there is a room for many more in the market. And the big things are coming only from joining forces and working as a team.
Yeah. So let me pick up on this one. As you said, it's not a one company job, and this was mostly on the community side, the expanding TYPO3. As it is not only a one company job, there comes Robert with his agency package. So Robert, you'd like to build more to increase agency structures and the amount of agencies working with TYPO3. As you said, you figured out it's harder to sell TYPO3 if there is no competition in the market. So tell us about the agency package and the background you have in Sweden, as you've been the only one.
Yeah, I mean, one of my biggest hurdles today selling TYPO3 is actually the argument where it is that, but if I build this website with you, you're the only Swedish agency. So, and I think this is, you will end up in the same where there is not many TYPO3 agencies in the same market. So I think it's really important, and I would love just sharing everything we did and everything we packaged up and all our templates to somebody else in Stockholm or Gothenburg or other parts of Sweden, and bringing competitors to the table, because I think that will make TYPO3 stronger and will, in the end, give me more work than less, even that I want to grow competitor. Are you with me, Daniel?
Yeah, absolutely, because we somehow have the same thought. That's where I'm a level lower, even though lower isn't bad. We had the same thoughts as projects grew over time, and it got way harder to recruit staff and new developers. We figured out it's kind of hard losing all those small projects because you can't support them anymore. So a TYPO3 project, when it's developed individually, is of course as expensive as any individual software solution. And our thought was, I think the same you had as you started T3 Kit back in the days. We'd like to get more people into the TYPO3 ecosystem without having to invest that much money. And we want to keep them in the ecosystem. And then when they outgrew the basic solution, they, of course, would hire an agency to fulfill their requirements. So the thought is the same. We're doing it by just advertising the basic website itself, because I'm on a level where no one is interested in what kind of system they are using, but they should be. But that's one thing they find out years later when they finally need to upgrade it or they need a special feature. And when you start this with the wrong system, you have to rebuild content you have been building up for years, and that's quite an effort too. And most people tend to forget this because they never experienced it. So as we are here all together, I think we all agree on it's a little bit or mostly about communication. So we are trying to reach out. So Robert has the agency starter package. He wants to contribute to the TYPO3 community. Elizabeth experienced what it feels like if someone is reaching out to you, and she had the topic so she could reach out to someone else. So as we have a very vivid community in Middle Europe, I think it's about communication. So up front, of course, I will ask you about communication itself and how we can get to you, and maybe what one can do for himself or his company. To everyone listening, I think it's very, very, very essential you are starting to follow the Twitter handles and get to know TYPO3, even though it might be not your own language. So reach out to the community, and if you can, maybe attend a little bit more meetings or more events that are further away, not in your local region. So Robert and I met last time in The Hague at the T3Con. This year I would have been glad to visit Daniel in Cluj, or I think I would have seen Elizabeth in Accra in Ghana, maybe, because we sponsored that event too. So it's about communication. Please get in contact and spread out. And then regarding communication, there's always an invitation expressed. So Robert's invitation would be get in contact with him because he knows how it is to establish an agency in a market. So basically that's...
And also, I think that we asked before, what could Elizabeth contribute with? And I think not only a good create, I think also to share your struggle. What's your pain point? What could be done better and easier in TYPO3? Because I think the ones who know how to set up everything and knows TYPO3, which a lot of us known for several years, it's really hard to understand how it is to start from scratch. And I was at the usability session for TYPO3, and I'm no developer, and somebody just sat me in front of a computer and said, install TYPO3 and document everything. And it was like wrong in like 5 places. The instructions for installing TYPO3 was wrong, but nobody saw it because the one who made that instruction, and this is several years ago, I guess it's better now, but the one who did that instruction were so used to installing TYPO3, so they didn't see what was wrong in the instruction. And that is typically, So I think your feedback, Elizabeth, on how the experience was, what was good, what was bad, would be very good for us if we get some funding for the agency starter package.
I think so. I think looking at you both, if it's about providing information maybe to the private sector in Rwanda, that could help. So that could be a potential start-off point. Mm-hmm. So I think you both will stay in contact afterwards.
Yes.
And
I added you on LinkedIn.
Nice. And the onboarding process, I think there is a TYPO3 mentorship program. So that's again, Daniel, Timmy, you both have to fight who's first. I think this time we should start with Timmy.
Yeah, sure. I'm glad you mentioned that, because it was a topic I also wanted to mention in here. So coming and to the point where we can grow the community and helping others to join the TYPO3. This year we started a TYPO3 mentoring program, and we already have over 10 mentees going through the program, and with from different countries, also mentors from different countries. Actually, one of my employees, also Oscar, is taking part of that, and this is super great, because we are helping new people to TYPO3 how to do their first steps, how to get to know how to start using the software, and also in a commercial way. On the other hand, we as a committee and mentors are watching the progress and learning what are the hurdles and what are the entry barriers for those people, so we can overcome them and, for example, tune documentation or explain something in more details. We are also using the skill display platform, which is a self-learning platform to learn TYPO3 and gain skills, but also to create a profile with your showing your expertise. So our mentees, after finishing the program, they already have a proven skills in TYPO3 they can show on the market. And I think that this is a really, really nice initiative.
All right, so I think we lost Elizabeth again. So Daniel, the TYPO3 mentorship program, you're involved as well. Maybe you can focus a little more on what would you need from the community to get this growing a little bit faster. You need more mentors or more students? What is it?
So actually, we are not lacking potential students, not at all. We had quite a very good response from the market target. The target regions that we had during the summer were Africa and South and Central America, and we have many mentees, many people interested. But we have quite a strong job to identify mentors, and that was a bit of struggle, even though actually the TYPO3 Association is subsidizing the effort of the mentors. So there is a budget allocated for that, and it will be even larger next year. So this is a message that we send again. We have, I think, 6 mentors coming from various companies. Some are sponsored by companies. We have 6 mentors now, but for the program to grow, we need more. And we need the agencies to identify people who are, on one hand, very good of TYPO3, of course. On the other, have some skills in the transferring that knowledge. That's also important. We are very open to receive new people into the mentorship program from the mentoring side. On the other hand, of course, we are looking to expand the mentees pool, and we are looking as well to start to look to how to provide the opportunities for them. Mm-hmm. It is clearly just a part of the issue to transfer knowledge. We also have to help them generate business drive, business opportunity, and this can be done in 2 ways. But this should be taken more serious by us as a committee, and maybe by us as a community. On one hand, it can be taken by fostering the development of the TYPO3 market in the region, together with them. And among them, and we are discussing with local agencies from Benin, from South Africa, from Chile, together with whom to create a message. Because you saw earlier on in the presentation of Elizabeth, how she pointed out the strong points of TYPO3 that convinced the government. And actually, we didn't have to make too much of an effort to convince them. They study, they compare. It was their job into understanding, but they figured it out. And maybe if we are more strong in communicating this type of strength, like the security, the scalability, the multi-tenant abilities, and so on, then we will be able to help the local agencies to sell TYPO3. But we can do it together, of course. The other point is that together with the companies that we help there by training the people, we should be more open to establishing business relations. I mean, our community, Europe, we know that we lack technical capacity, we lack people in Europe, but people are there. I mean, look at the growth of Africa in terms of population and also in terms of skills. Maybe in the future we will be able to foster these business relations better, so that we actually develop projects together, either in Europe or in Africa. So this would be something that strategically we should look for.
Mm-hmm. So that's a good point, Elizabeth. Glad you're back. As Daniel mentioned, he's lacking mentors. I think there are a lot of freelance. There's a lot of freelance workforce in especially in Germany, that can mentor students abroad. I think that would be a pretty decent approach. And Elizabeth, yeah, Robert?
I think also we shouldn't forget about one big part of the TYPO3 agency startup package that I'm thinking about is actually to mentor business leaders and salespersons and marketing persons, because it actually starts there. What's your argument for using TYPO3 instead of WordPress? How do you sell it? How do you package it up? How do you position it on the market? And then the need of developers will come. So I actually think there is a need for some mentorship regarding on a higher level also. And I think most agencies today use some kind of CMS, so we need to help them to understand the business value and the long-term strategy around TYPO3, because I mean TYPO3 can run for 10 years, 15 years. It will just run, but somebody needs to go in and explain that to a company leader and position TYPO3. Then we will need developers.
Yep, I'm absolutely on the same page with you. So we have at least two ways. I think we will wrap up the sales and marketing and editor approach in the next few minutes. At first, I just wanted to handle over the approach with the mentorship program and the developers to Elizabeth, because of course, as you heard, it's not only business relations. I think once you had a mentor and you got to know, or you get to know people, it's mostly building up trust and a relationship itself. It's almost personal. So once you mentored someone in a different country and you know about the skill set in a way, we of course could share work, because most agencies I know from Germany and Austria, they are searching for developers all the time. And the biggest issue with that is you're not hopping into any business relationship that has consequences that fast, but it gets easier once you get to know the people in the community in a special country. So Elizabeth, I think after you have done those 100 plus websites until I think 2024, I think the next approach can be just, communication between the countries.
I can't agree more with you. So for us on the mentorship approach, we had already started, of course, with a very limited number. It was limited to just our team with Risa and some private companies who were working with, just 2 companies. But we would be very glad to have this expanded to beyond where we are today. Because among the challenges, the biggest challenge is still the skills gap. And we really need this support, because locally we don't have this TYPO3 skills at the level of your company in Europe and other part of the globe. So this approach for us, we have sort of conducted a proof of concept with this project, with the coaching from the support of TYPO3 Association. We see, like you do, we see potential in leveraging it to expand more and also to train more developers into TYPO3. And of course, as Robert mentioned, we have to structure it into categories so that we cater for what developers should know, integrators and other people and managerial position who needs to serve the TYPO3 for decision makers. As I was looking at the question from our fellow from Zimbabwe, so I think there is a specific package that can be designed to help people first sell and to help people push for decision, and again, a different package for technical people. So I totally agree, and we are more than happy to see this happen beyond the small scope that we had currently. And yes, of course, the government has also obligations to support the ICT ecosystem. So it will be also through research, but it will be expanded to the private sector and more collaboration between the European private companies and Rwandan African private company can derive from there.
All right. So I think collaboration is the key word here. And as of now, I think we all know it's easy to set up online classes. So we can even, I think we can intensify this whole thing a little bit more. And so in the end, there's Robert and me, Robert with the agency starter package, and Robert and I, we are on the same page, as we both think it's about sales, and it's not the developers who are driving the whole process of which system is chosen. So I'm convinced there is a wide range of companies, and especially in the private sector, they depend on what the designer chooses, what their editors know. So I think in Europe we've all been in a pitch meeting when we had the best solution on the table and included TYPO3, and then of course somebody of the staff just said, well, I'm used to work with WordPress and it's so easy, I just want to stick to it. Boom, CEO changes his mind. It doesn't matter about security. It doesn't really matter how stable it is, or if you can use it for 10 years, or if you even don't have to relaunch your site every 3 years. So TYPO3 is off the table, and they stick to something they know. That basically is, I think, Robert's approach and my approach. We need to convert people from a non-specific content management area into TYPO3, so they just get to know that it is a stable system. It's fun working with a page tree that works and is your navigation. So I think that's the easiest thing, and that's so easy to access, and yet it's not available within other systems. So I think we need to convert them into that ecosystem. And once we have them here, decisions will be made in favor of TYPO3. And of course, this will attract the people who solve the problem, which I define as developers. Robert, I think you can agree.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what you do when that happens, Daniel? When they say that the WordPress is easier than TYPO3 and all that, you show the front-end editor, and then that argument is killed. Because then we will think it's easy. So I think we need to continue investing in some kind of front-end editor, because that will always, I mean, even if the user doesn't end up in working in front-end because the backend is more powerful, to have some kind of solution in place that solves the easy editor thing is also in this discussion really important.
All right. So that somehow transfers to the question part as well. I read a few questions, and I will place some of my content within those questions, and we will share them in the group, as we have. Where's my clock? 15 minutes. 50 minutes. So I read about the starting package. Might help a lot. Of course, it will help. We'll address it because there were many questions regarding the starting package. Thomas, I know what you say because I'm working with you. Then Andras, what we think about growing a company outside the DACH area. So you might have to specify your question. Did you consider a DACH company founding a company in other areas? Was it what you implied? And yes, we do have recruiting issues in Germany, and I think we all are searching for software developers. For example, I've been to the Rwandan website as we met with Elizabeth the first time, and yeah, I think everyone's in lack of developers. So yes, Andres, please specify your question. And then we had Dante. So if you'd like to know how to get more involved with the community, that's easy. Just talk to everyone, get into Slack, look at the random channel, and even contact any random person, as everyone is glad to help and interact. So that's basically what the community is all about and what we experience within TYPO3. And so if you're not on Slack, go there. And then we had Matthias. He's a colleague of Robert. They work together at Pixelant. And Matthias is also part of the TYPO3 marketing initiative. So there it's about the... Oh, you wrote a lot.
Typically him. Typically him.
All right. So, and growing TYPO3 and building a business model, I think that's something I want to address in 2 or 3 short sentences. That's what we basically do with TYPO3, as we are trying to get people into a up and running agency without coding. So it's some sort of a starter package, as we have seen many agencies building a business upon Squarespace, Wix, Weebly, Jimdo, those website builders. And we wanted to cater them as well. So if you're not into coding, sorry, I shouldn't read the chat. Matthias, stop writing. So, and for people that are not into coding, they can still start a business in TYPO3 if they might talk to us. And that's one thing we are using this International Meetup Day from our perspective. We are trying to reach out actively. So I'm glad if I can talk to different countries, and of course I'd like to show you how you can build a business in TYPO3 without the knowledge of any line of code. So the question was not yet specified. To the panel, it's it's mostly, I think it's this building a business thing is a thing. Robert, you're right. But you knew that before.
Yeah, but I think also I'm really interested in looking at what you are doing, Daniel, with your TYPO platform, because I think that is a super nice complement what we are trying to do with the T3 Kit package and the Bootstrap package, which actually are focused on like we can accelerate your development, but it's not solving the problem to build a website without the need of a developer in some way, but we let that focus go. So I think we could work together. And I think also, I mean, there is a lot of agencies that are really good at advertisement, measurement, content marketing that would love a CMS and a starter package that they don't need any developers to use. They don't need any developers to work with, and they can do amazing things with just content. I mean, so I think there is room for both approaches, and I think both approaches is really important for the TYPO3 community.
Absolutely. So let's not forget it's called content management because there's a need for a tool that manages content. So we can all guess that usually the part of creating content is way more effort than managing it, because the tool was made to make the content management easier. And basically that's what it's all about. And I think it's sometimes forgotten. So I didn't get any questions, and not yet the specified question. So Andras, you're from Hungary. Maybe you hear me. Because if it was about founding companies in other regions, of course, that's something we thought about as well, as we are reaching out for partners, and maybe a big player in a special region can consider a joint venture in a not so developed region. I think that's pretty interesting. So that would be kind of an investor and mentor program. I think that would be a reliable path too for the whole TYPO3 ecosystem.
So if I might jump in, Andras was one of the early attendees to our TYPO3 East Europe conference, because he's from Hungary. So we are close together, neighbors. And the problem that I understood back then that he was facing is, as Robert was saying, that Robert is alone, Pixelant is alone in Sweden, but at least Robert managed to build a team. What if you're all alone and you don't have a team, and you have to build both a market and a team from zero? I mean, that's a hard cap that is enough to discourage anybody. So that's why at this moment we do not know of any Hungarian agency. So one country in Europe with virtually no agency. Actually, we do have only several minutes, because the next presentation of Mark from Dropbox will be still on stage. So we'll need to allow a couple of minutes to switch.
All right. So maybe that's just a interesting read. If you want to, we wrote a blog article because we have the 1 year anniversary of a new employee, Lisa. She hired or she got into our staff last year, the 1st of December, and she has no coding experience, and we just threw her in hardcore publishing and managing website projects for a few clients, and she launched 40 websites since last December. So if you want to read this, but quite an amount, and she's pretty fast at publishing in TYPO3. If you don't mind, I will post the link within the chat. So if you're not into coding, that's what it's all about. When I talk about expanding TYPO3, it's getting more people into the ecosystem so they can create something and just get things done. I would have said get shit done. So, of course, but that's what it's all about. Create content and get the message out in the world. So if there are no questions left, I'd say, or I'd wrap up the whole panel with get in contact with everyone you can reach out to. So even if it's a different country, another region, maybe a different profession, so just get in touch with SEOs, with publishers, so and just support them and help them to understand what our tool can do for them. I think that helps the whole ecosystem. All right, so as there's no clapping and nothing else, Daniel, you're more experienced than me in this. We wave and go, or how does this work? So like this?
Well, I will stop the broadcasting, but not before saying congrats to everybody, to you, Daniel, for moderating it, and to my colleagues in the panel, and saying that I'm so very glad that we reached a moment in which we discuss actually about having a business development strategy which is community driven. So I think that it is a start, and I think that this is exactly what we should grow. And I'm seeing the comments also from Olivier in the chat. So it's definitely something that we have people to grow with. We have experience, and now we have the network. So 41 countries present. just looking forward to establish relationship and business. So we're looking forward to a bright future.
And those credits go to you, Daniel. All
well,
right.
To us all, because we work together as community.
Don't play yourself down. You're a driving role.
So see you then soon, and stay on the stage. I'm stopping the broadcast now. Let's take a very short 3 minutes break, and we'll be back on the stage.
And grab a coffee. Thank you. Bye.
Merry Christmas.